No,
you'll get us taken down. It's copyrighted.
That's true. Careful. I'll come for you.
What, I wonder how harsh they are on humming of known copyrighted tunes.
That would be actually an interesting thing to find out. I wonder if you can get around copyright. Just upload soundtracks with humming.
Just sure enough, it's original cover. What do you want me to do? It's sort of a judgment on your singing and your humming too.
That is true.
It's like, this is copyrighted nothing. I'm like, but my humming is very good. I don't like, what are you talking about?
I deserve a copyright strike.
Yeah. Ooh, I should lower these mic levels. Test.
No, I want to hear you in the brain.
This part is live too, so that's the best part.
Oh, that's perfect.
Everyone likes to hear a good test. With that, I think we've propagated, so let's go ahead and get the show started. We are live. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about... Oh. You held up your hand. I thought I was like, hey, hold up.
I was like, yes.
Like, did I stutter? Did I spit? No.
Nope, don't worry about it.
You're so excited. This stays in, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm just too excited to keep it going.
The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. Super excited because the kids are asleep. And I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old.
You were so excited. You decided to inject yourself into...
Yes. Today was long. It was a long day, and I'm glad they're in bed and sound asleep.
So that was literal undulation. Like, hooray, finally, they're gone.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I hear you there. It was a rough one. I don't know if it's a season. I don't know if all gaming dads out there are feeling the struggle. It was rough in this household. Jeff, obviously, you was rough there as well. Do you assume it's just all gaming dads right now feeling this seasonal crunch?
All gaming dads right now. There's like an achievement that we all need to unlock to get over this gaming dad experience. So yeah, it's everybody.
You know, I think that might be especially true because we had one of our owns, which everybody gaming dads pour one out for a fellow gaming dad, good friend of the show, Bill from A Gamer Looks at 40, reached out this week in solidarity, in pain, in a terrible dad situation, which I myself had found myself in, of removing games from the kid.
Oh no.
Now again, so I mentioned the show, A Gamer Looks at 40. You would do well to listen to this show. If you listen to it, you'll know why his email here is so eloquent. The show and the content he puts together is really well done as a retrospective of a gaming life as he himself turned 40. I'm 2 years away from that, so I'm very young comparatively. I don't know if I can relate, but...
It's from the future.
But I was none too surprised to hear it well written, and I wanted to read it out to the folks to give solidarity to a fellow gaming dad going through a similar struggle. I come to you in a time of great distress and turmoil. Like Trevor had to do with his kids, I too indefinitely forbidden my 5-year-old son from playing games.
Oh.
It did not go over well. And it's not his fault. Video games are awesome, more awesome than most things, but he was getting obsessed. All he wanted to do was play the Switch. His schoolwork had started to suffer a bit, as much as it can for a 5-year-old. You know, finger painting starts to go off the wall. And he'd throw a fit whenever we told him to put it down. Just pitch perfect, exactly what was happening with my house as well. So it's gone, and it will be for the foreseeable future. Right now, we're eyeing his birthday in late May. That is a big time span.
Yep.
As a potential return to Mario Kart, but it depends on his schoolwork and his attitude for turning off screens. If he loses his mind over telling us to turn off Octonauts, he's got no chance at putting down Super Mario Bros. But we, as parents, have a responsibility as well. Asking a 5-year-old to be responsible with his playtime is an unrealistic expectation. So we're setting strict time limitations on screens. 1 hour on Tuesday and Friday, 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday. If he doesn't make his bed, wash his hands, or yuck, flush the toilet. Yeah. That's like, yep. I had hoped it was just a young kid thing, but I think, Jeff, you say that never stops.
Still going on here. So sorry, Bill. 11-year-old, same reminders happen.
Oh, goodness.
Yep.
He loses time for each infraction. Come on, dude. Flushing toilets, not hard. Apparently
it really isn't. It really isn't, but no. It doesn't happen.
I'll continue to update you as the saga progresses, but the cool thing is he's filling in the blanks. He goes outside more, does more hands-on play. Yes, he's always angling for a return to games, but he's not bored to tears. Kids are amazingly adaptable. I'll continue to update you as the saga progresses. In parental solidarity, Bill, from A Gamer Looks at 40. Oh, it hurts. It hurts my heart. And just reading his flashbacks, it's pitch perfect, exactly the situation, and Bill put it incredibly well. Video games are awesome, more awesome than most things, and we as parents have responsibility. And it's well said.
Yeah, and I do find that video games have kind of like fine-tuned that, almost like that gameplay mechanic that you want more all the time, right? Like it's just so enthralling. And now, Mario Kart has to go on hold for a while until you tend to other life responsibilities.
So they keep us updated on the Sega. If any other gaming dads are out there with similar issues, would love to hear the stories and share it as we all kind of go through this together. So that's at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. So on deck is a bunch of emulators, and specifically because emulators are coming onto Steam Deck, which was the wildest news. And Jeff, I don't think I've seen a more perfect GIF than what you handcrafted on our Twitter account.
Yeah, for anyone listening, it is a scene from Zelda Wind Waker where Link is throwing off a pig into the ocean, and I've just put that as Nintendo Switch. Because now, with emulation on the Steam Deck, at least very easily accessed, we can get our portable Wind Waker. I mean, Nintendo doesn't even have to do anything. We could just do it ourselves.
It's one of those devices that just continued to get better and better close to launch. Like it launches, It's like, hey, it's a PC in your hand. You're like,
okay, sure.
And then people start to review it, and it's like, no, this thing is like legit. This is a very good PC. Like, okay, but how does it handle God of War?
Right.
Amazingly. Like, okay, yeah.
It's really enticing me to get one, and I don't want to get one. It's just I'm not in this. I have a lot of consoles, and like you have a lot of portables, so I don't want to get one. But having emulation stuff on a Steam Deck, I don't know. There's so many games I missed out. I didn't have a GameCube, right? So even just going back to that, and Nintendo 64 and PSP, PlayStation.
Yeah. So to break it down just even a little further, so the Steam Deck, it runs on its, I believe, own custom version of Linux.
Yes.
Highly customized, but it seems like you have a lot of access under the hood for whatever you want to do.
Yep.
But this isn't even messing around. So the discovery that was made is that the Steam Deck comes with pre-installed an app store. So officially supported app store that's just on it. It's pinned to the taskbar. It is hyper available. Hey, do you want some apps? Here's this app store. It's called Discover. And on it, on this app store, one click away, you can get Dolphin for GameCube and the Wii, DuckStation for PlayStation 1, PCSX2 for PlayStation 2, PPSSPP for PlayStation Portable, Yuzu for Nintendo Switch,
Oh my god.
BSNES for Super Nintendo. So within minutes of turning on your new Steam Deck, you have Switch emulation, you have PlayStation, you have GameCube and Wii. Like that, it's so fascinating because emulators themselves are not illegal.
Right.
Because it's just that it's I don't know, like if you want to say like a bong, in the sense that like a bong is not illegal. In some places, what goes into the bong is.
Right.
But this is just a device for it.
Yeah.
And they've made that distinction. And Steam is kind of straddling that line where it's like, look, we're not giving you ROMs. We haven't ripped anything illegally.
No.
I assume you're just testing your own personal Switch game, frankly.
You're just going to code more on these emulators. We're just going to give you them, and you can do what you want with them. But, like, just going back to even just what the Steam Deck is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to access your Steam library. For the most part, everything plays on it, like they're going through one by one. If your backlog isn't big enough, you can now add all these emulated games to them and play. Like, again, we mentioned Bill at the top of the show. He's very into like retro games and stuff. Like, look, like now you've got it completely portable all through most of, the last few generations of games. in your fingertips, literally.
Yeah, it's kind of just it's breaking that whole like the Switch hardware was a revelation. Like it was fantastic, beautiful. People love it. Nunchucks suck, but the the Switch in its generality was fantastic. Like everybody loves the thing, right?
Yeah.
Imagine your beefy PC and all of the customizations, the capabilities, like all the tinkering that comes with that. Like, but in that Switch form factor.
Yeah.
It's stunning, man. It's really wild, but it's so expensive. It's so expensive.
It's so expensive, but just again, like we said last episode, you could save a lot of money with those Steam
it's
sales, and you don't have to pay for online.
Look, we've done a pretty good job of convincing each other to buy things. This
right.
feels like a bridge too far.
I know.
If neither of us had bought next generation consoles, if neither of us had bought VR headsets, if neither of us had splurged on a couple other foolish things,
Yeah.
maybe if we had been waiting patiently, it's like no, I'm gonna sit it out. I have a feeling something on the horizon is better.
Right. Like, and again, if Gabe's listening to the show, maybe you can give us a couple of copies.
I'm sure there's not a laundry list of people that have requested it, but sure, we'll put it out there in the universe, see what
That's
happens.
right. We'll review that gaming dad niche market, right? That he is missing in his review set.
I'll say that I'm just excited for it. There's something about new hardware coming out that succeeds wildly and people are excited about in the gaming community. Like it's just always awesome to see. So I'm pretty stoked to see this thing exists.
Yeah, and let's see if it pushes Nintendo to do better, right? Because not really
Curious,
anybody's pushing Nintendo to do better, and this is direct competition. So
yeah, Nintendo's got those money making machines anytime. It's like I'd give them another Mario Tennis. Don't worry about it. Good chunk, another $1 billion. So that it eventually leads to a story about how Nintendo didn't get more of my money.
right.
But we can segue through that. But to get to that, we have to blast through a couple stories first. And the first one is that I kind of beat Undertale.
Okay, well, what's kind of beat?
So what's kind of you?
I
So
mean,
before-
I'm kind of proud of you because last time we said you wouldn't beat it, but now you kind of beat it. So, all right, I'm all ears.
So I had read a lot about Undertale before I played it, and who wouldn't have? Like it's an indie darling. Like this is a massive game, a massive success. So wonderful. That was great, right? So going in like eyes wide open, the one thing I knew for sure is I wanted to do a pacifist run. So that's where you kill nobody.
Right.
And initially, I kind of just thought that there's this mercy. Whenever you play Undertale, there's a mercy option, and if you perform enough actions, you can spare every single monster. But I still assumed like I would gain experience and become stronger.
Right.
No, it's like you do not. You get nothing. You get nothing for mercy. So the entire time, I am like one hit away from dying.
Okay.
So already with some of the bosses, it is pretty hard,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you can imagine as you get to the end bosses, that it's like, how on earth would I possibly beat this? And I'll say,
I don't know how you would. Yeah. No.
and I didn't.
Okay.
And,
all right.
and
Well, there
here
you
comes
go.
a part of the story. So I got to what I thought was probably the end boss,
Okay. Yep.
and just it was awful. Like it was so ridiculous. I mean, I'm talking like Dark Souls dodging. This is so fast. I'm gonna have to spend evenings and weekends studying the movements to get past this, especially because I'm a pacifist. I only have like 20 hit points.
Right.
I can take like 1 or 2 hits. So I honestly, I threw up my hands. Like I'm so ready to move on to other games. Like loved Undertale, but it wasn't as if it's like, this is my all-time favorite game and I want to spend another 4 hours in this thing.
Right. Okay.
I was right there at the end. And what tipped me off is that I went to, it's like, here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to get good enough to play this game. I don't care to put in the time. I'm just going to watch the YouTube of the ending. You know, throw the hands up. Dad ain't got time for that. Show me the ending. And the first tip off was that I got to the point where I thought, where I was. And I was like, okay, this is about the end. And then I look at the timeline. There's 2 hours left in this walkthrough video. I'm like, I stopped at a great time.
You did.
Go on.
You actually did the ultimate pacifist run by not defeating
Not defeating
the game itself. So
By curling up and dying. You did the ultimate pacifist run. No, but I absolutely made the right choice, because I'll say that what I thought was a battle that was just going to be too difficult and just, I don't have time for this, forget it.
yeah,
The next ones as a pacifist were just absurd. Like the worst of the worst Dark Souls stuff
yeah.
times 100, because it's like pixel art nonsense, and it was just, forget it. I'm so happy I missed this. And just watching the run through YouTube, great. Great.
You really brought this on yourself, though. Like, what made you
I just like,
say pacifist run in a game that is? It's not an easy game. Like, it can get
No.
rather difficult, even just regularly. So to do a pacifist run where you're like living or dying off one hit, good on you. You got that far. I'm kind of proud of you.
it's just that as far as the story goes, how the pieces of the pacifist stuff came about was fantastic. Like I love the story angle from a pacifist perspective.
Okay.
And again, that's kind of coming in eyes wide open to what this game was and like these different types of runs.
Yeah.
And the particularly one, it's almost hard to watch. Like I watched a few of the other ones, and honestly, this is part of it too. Is that in throwing up my hands in a way and watching on YouTube, it also let me just kind of rip through the other versions of it. So there's like the pacifist run. There's like a lot of mercy run. There's psychotic run. There's, I forget what the other one's called, but it's just where you murder everybody.
Everybody.
It's all, man. It's it's so heart wrenching to watch it. Like these characters you kind of like, and you end up just like offing them. Like,
Yeah, that's it.
it's
Wow.
difficult. So because I came with that much knowledge, it was really, you know what, I want to stick with that run. I'll do the pacifist version. I liked it. I liked how the story and the interactions go. I felt really it paid off for me in that way. That the story payoff for me was fantastic in the decision that I did, but it ultimately resulted in a boss battle that I was not willing to put in the time to complete.
Okay. So let me riddle you this.
No.
Do you feel like, so I think this is where trophies and achievements come into play, because if I put down a game, there's some like emptiness, like it's hanging there
Yeah.
in my gaming profile, like nothing was completed, but like you saw the end video, but nothing there is saying, hey, I beat this. And like playing on Steam, you do have trophies or like whatever. I forget what you were playing it on. Was it Steam?
Xbox.
Xbox. So they do have trophies or achievements there. I mean, does that kind of like hang on, or you're just done? You're just like, I'll just delete it off my menu.
It doesn't. I'm not scot free. I'll say this, like, because I if someone asked did I ever beat it, I'll have to say no. Like, I'm not going to try to pretend like, well, yeah, basically I beat it. That's straight up lying.
Your son comes to you, you're like, hey, Dad, did you beat this game?
Yeah, I
And you're
know.
like, yes, I did, son.
That almost feels like a good lie in a sense. It's like to show your son lessons in stick to itiveness, like committing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it hangs on me. Yeah, honestly, like there's going to be a part of it where I'm so happy I played it, so happy I got to see the story.
Yeah.
And I do not miss the thought of like, I don't miss the idea of me putting in the time to get good enough to
get
beat
there,
it.
yeah.
That was a wise dad decision with my time.
Yeah.
But it's there. There's always gonna be a little bit of hurt, that little bit of shame, as far as maybe you just should put in the time. Maybe you should have been better.
Maybe you should have been better. That's it.
No, so that actually kind of leads nicely to the Twitter poll, because so I beat this game,
Right.
and it's, what do I play now?
Yes.
And your suggestion, Jeff, was to put it out to Twitter.
Right.
You
And
fool.
it was between, well, the choices were Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, and then other.
and that,
And the other is quite funny.
these damn gaming dads. It's like, how dare you people? Just like, they start to suggest Elden Ring.
Oh my God. Elden Ring. You and Elden Ring would have had a fun time.
So here I am running away from Undertale because it's too
Yes.
hard and I don't want to beat it. And the next suggestion that comes up, which I'm telling you, if there was a part of me that thought I'm going to have to buy this game and beat it,
Yep.
because if enough people get it, like, I'd want to respect.
That's right.
And it's a pretty funny story. It would be my first Souls game ever.
Oh my god, yeah. You
For
would
some-
step in. What is this?
But yeah, so on our Twitter poll, the Chrono Trigger FF, Final Fantasy 6 or other, and I think we got 3 or 4 suggestions around Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, please, like, what are you doing to me? Like, don't do this. Don't have that vote more.
No. But resounding, people voted for Chrono Trigger, so that's what won out eventually. And that is probably the better of the two games between Final Fantasy 6 and Chrono Trigger, just because it's a lot quicker. Final Fantasy 6, I remember pumping 40, 50 hours in as a kid. So good luck to Trevor. But Chrono Trigger is not too bad.
Yeah, and that was the link to Steam Deck, because with all of those emulators on deck,
Yes.
the question becomes, it got me to thinking, now where do I play Chrono Trigger exactly? Because obviously I could perhaps get a PC port with an emulator.
Yeah.
Listeners of the show might remember that I'd purchased a handheld device emulator with everything from Nintendo all the way up, or even Atari all the way up to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So in this gorgeous handheld unit, like I love this thing. I can never pronounce the name. Ambernick,
Yeah.
I think it is. So I bought this I have the damn device, but my slight pull was, I also have that backbone that I bought.
Right.
And Chrono Trigger is available on iOS. It's on my phone,
Yeah.
right? So should I perhaps buy it on the iPhone so that, maybe there'll be some quality of life improvements?
Could
that
be.
will save me some dad time, because it's going to be in between, like after the kids finally go to bed. So if I can have any type of easements with this old title, be very much appreciated. So the slight like pull around, like where do I play this title?
That is such a good thing to have. Like, that's a good problem to have. You're like, I have all these
Oh, it's
options.
the greatest. Like, it's
I can play it anywhere.
woe is me. Yeah, it's true.
The world is my oyster. But you're gonna have like boxes of accessories to give your kids later on. You're gonna be like, and I got this console, and I got this accessory, and I got this. But no, it's good. It's good to have. You have options. So what did you decide on then? You went on the Ambernick, right? Wow.
Yeah, so I went with that because for the iOS version, I was gonna have to shell out another call it
pretty expensive.
$15.
Yeah.
And it's like I bought this damn thing for $100 already.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? Buying games that I think it's even loaded on it. I already
It's
have
probably
it.
loaded on it. Yeah.
I have the damn thing. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I'll say that what very pleasantly surprised, or was very pleasant about, is that this device actually has quality life improvements on it. So part of the firmware is you can do quick save and quick load anywhere.
That's
So
amazing.
immediately, and it has speed up. It'll double time the game. It just like speeds up the ROM, so you can play it at double time.
Okay, hold on. So when Square Enix goes back and they're like, hey, look, we took a couple years to remaster this thing. We gave you fast forward. And then this thing is like in the firmware itself. You're like, you know what? We'll just double everything and it's all good. And then Square's like, no, we're going to have to charge you double the price because now there's a fast forward button.
No, there's a fast forward. The pixels are slightly nicer.
Wow, no, that's good to have. Like, you got the fast forward and save states. That's perfect.
I think it's going to help me really rip through this thing a bit faster. So that I'm pleased about, because just save anytime I think it's going to get dicey, and then quick load. This device turns on super fast, and the only thing that'd be better is cheats, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to try to play it true if I can.
I would worry about if you had save states and you just save yourself into the corner and you can never beat it because you saved it past where the game thinks you should die. Do you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh God, I can never beat this boss. And then you just go to YouTube and watch the ending.
Then I go back to YouTube. That's like the dad walk of shame. It's just like type like YouTube Chrono Trigger ending.
They should just load it up with the ending movie files and you just click on them and just watch it.
Why spend any time playing games when you could just do this?
That's right.
Honestly, that YouTube trick, I'm telling you, to go back to that previous story, I think I'm going to pull that a lot, especially when it comes time to bonus ending, special endings.
Yes.
Because I think back to some of my gaming habits when I was young that I just don't have time for now as a dad, where it was, yeah, sure, I'll put in another 20 hours to grind, like to dodge lightning to get a super sword so I can see a 30 extra seconds of a movie clip in this game. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, see, that worries me a lot because in the original Horizon Zero Dawn, if you didn't do certain side quests, those characters wouldn't show up at the end. So, and then they would have like a couple dialogue scenes, a couple combat scenes, and then you'd be out that. I'm not doing another 40-hour game to get those minute cutscenes. Thanks. I'll go to YouTube and watch them.
Yeah, YouTube, a gaming dad's best friend when there ain't no time.
Yep.
I do, man. So when it comes time to your kid though, like, if they came to you and said, I don't want to spend this time and play this game. Can't we just watch YouTube? Like, how would you feel about that? Given how you would act given your time.
If we're watching it together, I think I'd be cool with that. I think that would work. I mean, we're spending time together in that kind of way. It would have to depend on, honestly, they watch so much like Minecraft streamers. Like, as long as there's no commentary and it's just somebody playing, that would be the greatest thing. I'm okay with that. Well,
Yeah.
what do you think? Would you be like, no, we should go through?
Well, I'm trying to think about, because I would want to respect their time. It's like, if you guys are busy with school and like other stuff, I can get. If you're telling me you don't want to grind for 20 hours to get a super special ending,
Yeah.
I can relate to that. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any missed learning opportunity around, again, like stick-to-itiveness and committing time. But it kind of feels like gaming isn't of such importance that that's a great bed for that type of lesson, if that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah.
Like with schoolwork and like sports or like skills, there's no cheats. Like, there's no like short code. There's no like, you can't just watch a video and then get onto the sports team. Like, it's
right.
You have to practice and like work hard. But with a video game, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, this is your hobby. Like, this is all silly stuff. It's great.
Not unless you say like you beat something like Elden Ring, and then somebody's like, "Okay, I'm having really trouble over here. Can you come over to my house and show me what it's all about?" And you're like, "I don't know."
Now you mentioned Horizon Forbidden West, and like
Yes.
your tweet was just the saddest thing. It filled me with such sadness and anxiety. Oh, like, why don't you describe what you posted?
Yeah, so I posted the world map of where I am 20 hours into this game, and I zoom out and pan over for probably a good 5-6 seconds of panning, all zoomed out. So I am maybe 1/5, 1/6 of the way through this game at 20 hours. So that, I know, immediately sends red flags for Trevor, who would just this is it. I'm done. It's over.
I can't describe the emotional roller coaster you put me through.
Yeah.
Watch it, because you're zooming out, and it's like, well, okay, he's gonna stop. I mean, he's gonna stop. Oh my god!
It's
Go
too
to
much.
this, like the number of markers you have on what must be 10% of the map that you've actually covered.
Yeah.
So you have 10%. You have hundreds of markers.
Yeah.
And then you go over to the rest of the 90% of this map that you haven't touched yet. And the thought that there's going to be equal, if not more, markers of things to do. Why is it so big? Why is it so big, Jeff? Like, what am I going to do?
I know. This is one that you could play one of two ways. You can burn through it and just do the main mission and be like, oh, thank God, I'm not going to look at any shiny stuff. I am just going to go the main trail. This is it. And maybe you'll hit 20, 30 hours, right? Like, just straight through. Or you can play my way where I'm like, oh, what's over here? Oh, let me inspect this. And then take forever. Also, I have my kids with me asking they are made, it's in their DNA to ask questions every like 2 seconds. So I am
Why?
answering questions
Why?
all the time.
Why?
Why they say that? Why they do that to that person? Who are they from? What are they doing?
What's in
their
that tree?
history? They didn't sit through my first playthrough of the previous title, so they're like, "Why is this happening?" I'm like, "Well, actually," and so it's extending my playtime a little bit. I'm happy to do it, but it almost like like they need a little recorded dad voice that I'll just explain the game to them while I'm not there.
God, see, that's tricky because there's again, like, gaming dead time, fairly precious. It's very limited. And time with kid, very limited, very precious.
Yeah.
and you put them together, it's not really peanut butter and chocolate. Because they're this bonding moment and these questions, which is so awesome to get inside their head and see them curious. That's fantastic, but you're really slowing me up here, son. Like, I got a lot of side quests to get to.
Yeah.
And if I'm stopping every 2 seconds for a rock, I don't know if I'll ever beat this game.
Yeah, no, it's a lot to handle, and even through like the main story scenes, they're asking questions. I'm like, pause. Okay, what was your question? Because again, it's like talking through a movie for me. I'm like, I kind of want to be in the zone for this. Like, somebody just died, and I have to go avenge them, but I need to be in that emotional state. And they're like, hey, what's going on with that plant in the background? I'm like, okay, listen, like, we'll figure that out. Just let me listen to this, and I'll get your questions.
So what do you think this will end up? Are you happy to fight that fight and do the good thing and like let them come through with you, or do you think this game will now become a post bedtime type of joy?
So I have a quick tip of what I discovered the best path.
Gaming Dad tip. Good.
Gaming Dad tip. I do the main missions when they're in bed. And then I leave all the side quests that I've discovered for the next day when they're awake, and they can ask me questions, and it's not as like pivotal to the story. It does have some effects, right? But then they think they're involved, and I hadn't done anything because I just revealed the map. So they're like oblivious to.
You've got to tweet that out. That is gold. That is
There
a
you go.
fantastic dad gaming tip. You main quest it when
right.
they're in bed, and the side quest nonsense, that's
Yep.
family time, baby.
There you go.
Let's end on an amazing Gaming Dad tip for the week. Oh, that is a good one. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to get a hold of us, as we've been saying these last couple episodes, the interaction we've been having online has been phenomenal. Bill from A Gamer Looks at 40, a phenomenal podcast to check it out, especially from the Gaming Dad perspective. But receiving that email this week just like lit us up. Like, we adored reading through that and obviously had a blast sharing it on the show. So if you'd like to do something similar, you can find us at our website, newdadgaming.com, or at our Twitter at newdadgaming. If you like the show, you can really help us out by subscribing to it. You can find it on all the major podcasting networks you're looking at: iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere where you get your podcasts. More than just a subscription, which helps us a ton, is if you could leave us a rating and a comment. That does wonders for us, as it helps boost the signal and get us out to as many gaming dads as possible. If you have something to promote, a website, a project, a podcast of your own, if you reach out to us after leaving a comment and a rating on one of these subscriptions, just reach out to us on Twitter or our website. We'd love to read it on the show and give some support. And thanks for boosting us as a podcast. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Until next week, who knows how many more games I'll beat via YouTube. My name is Trevor. Whoa, lost my headphones. Go. So not only did we have the choke at the beginning, the interruption, but now I got my devices flying everywhere.
That works.
Till next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have 2 side quests that are 11 and 8 years old.
I'm not going to interrupt as you do them. Don't worry about that.
That's right. And just remember, just because you became a dad,
Does not mean it's game over.
all right, see you
See
later.
you next week.